Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another one of my Ascension messages. I'm going to be channeling live today. This is my second try live channeling. I'm pretty excited about it. I have been really surrounded by many last night, during my dreams, and this morning. So one of the fractions that want to come in is those that I know to be called the Cyaniums. So the Cyaniums were introduced to me through dream, and then through several dreams actually. So the lady that I was working with, she's a Cherokee elder. This is years and years ago. She comes in my dreams every now and then, and she asked me to join her team, and I said, no, I'm going to do this on my own. And she said that I will be working with or in charge of or guiding with the Cyaniums. So I had also had a dream. This is many years ago, like we're talking 7 years or so ago, where these four benevolent beings that were etheric in very vivid blue came out of a UFO at the end of my street, and I was very excited that they were here. And they came up to me, but when they did, they realized that I was a little bit too excited or fearful, so they actually morphed into rainbow sphere balls. And then one of them lied down next to me and then morphed into a humanoid, and he started to talk to me, and he was talking about the fall of society and all sorts of stuff. And this was many years ago. And also, the elder that I was working with said that the beings that we are before we were born were these etheric, tall, blue, iridescent blue beings that looked very similar to the end of The Knowing. If you've ever seen The Knowing, the movie with Nicolas Cage in it, that was them. So I'm introducing them in because they're really around me at the moment. This is actually one of the quick sketches that I did of that dream. And so, yeah. And the weird thing was, when I split up 2 years ago, I landed here in this unit, and I opened the door, the veranda door, and I looked out, and what do you know, this exact street that I saw in my dream was right in front of me. I literally went, holy crap, this is my dream come true. Am I supposed to be connecting with these beings while I'm here? And it's really weird because I forgot about it. I've remembered it, but I forgot about the fact that I was thinking that I was going to connect with them. And I'm literally going to move out soon. And they're like, you have to introduce us. You have to introduce us. So they are of the Pleiadians. There's many fractions within the Pleiadian star system because it's got a lot of suns and a lot of planets. And but these are higher benevolent beings, a higher fraction that's very close to source energy itself. And their work was mainly observational work, but there's some of us that decided to come through and help guide and wanted the experience, the adventure, and all of that sort of stuff to help guide. So they're part of my team. Now, there's just so much to share. Hey, everybody. So good to see you, Sky. So good to see you, JP. So good to see you, Rob, RDM. Hey, everybody. Really good to see you. I'll just see if I can make Katie add as a moderator because she asked to be one. So if anyone wants to be a moderator that's often here and been part of my journey, I'm quite happy to do that because I need moderators. Okay, so the other thing that popped up this morning before I get into the real thick of the channeling and everything was I'm going to read a couple of things. Now, this is from a book because I've been told by my guides years and years ago to write everything down. And I literally woke up and saw a pen in front of me just hovering there. And I'm like, okay, I've got to write everything down. So I'm going to read out of this book. This is from 2008. And it's just incredible how it's a similar message to what I'm producing now. And I keep thinking that this is all new, but I've literally been shown this or gifted this for sporadically over the years anyway, through meditations and all sorts of things and dreams and all that. So on the 12th of February 2008, I had a dream. A vision of my mobile phone floating past me, past my head, and I was wondering, where are you going? And then I went, obviously I need to connect to the spirit world. So 13th of February 2008, I was taught by my guides how to do the Merkaba. I had read a book on how to do the Merkaba you have to be gifted the last a bit of that meditation through spirit, and I was gifted that. Actually, there was a guy called Dan Winter that came to Australia, and around the same time as I was gifted it, he said, does anyone know the last step to the Merkaba? And I put my hand up and he asked me what it was, and he said, yes, you're right, you're exactly right. So that was a nice confirmation from Dan Winter. So I received a message to feel, this is 13th of February 2008, during a Merkaba meditation. I received a message to feel a spark deep within my heart that is eager to come out. I did, and it felt wonderful. That this will in turn connect with the pineal gland when I'm ready. I felt like I was sensing a feeling that the world and all of its of the world and all of its noises through the eyes of an innocent child again. It was so beautiful. Now there's a reason why I've said that. So that was leading up to this message that was also on the 13th of February, because after that Merkaba, I started to feel into being completely present and in such a euphoric state throughout the whole day. All day I have had this beautiful feeling of another dimension within me, feelings that I've usually held only in dreamland. I feel the need for this feeling to bleed out from my mind and into those lucid dreamers that can then make a home in their minds and eventually feed the world to make a real peace and love of another dimension here on Earth. And I drew a little picture of a spaceship and mountains and a river. Here we are sitting absolutely still in a time and space where unknown dimensions are working together to help us become whole, where we can share and experience their heavens on earth in such a harmonic way that all molecules, all dreams are united in love. To just remember this connection to all, we are but one family learning to love ourselves in a time that is disconnected to God. For once we learn to love ourselves, the connection to the God source is made, and heaven on earth is here in our hearts and minds and in our dreams and lives. And acceptance of our minds is a vital key, and acceptance of our friends and enemies is another, but also the same key. A link of God to our hearts to live as one and breathe with a source God is to join our own lost connection of ourselves. That is literally what's happening to us right now. So this was written in 2008. And I wanted to share that with you so that you have an understanding of just how much there are some of us that have been awoken to so much more, so that we can help guide you guys through this maze of disillusionment and understanding. And once you're on the other side, which I feel I have literally pierced through to the other side recently, it is amazing how quick manifestation comes in. Like, you ask and you receive. You take responsibility for what you ask and you receive. It's incredible. It's incredible, I have to admit. And it's beautiful and it's peaceful and it's just love. But it's not just love. There are moments that are still going to be up and down, but there's an acceptance of those as well. We're not going to be robots that are just perfectly, in sync with everything. Sometimes those moments where there is a bit of friction, it's a moment of, oh, I need to burst out of this norm and burst into something else new. So there was something else that came up. I'm going to follow through with the channeling that I got last night. To prepare means to have a way out or a way towards something. To prepare for a way means you are focused. To prepare for a way out means that you are focused on feeling vulnerable in a situation. But to prepare towards what you desire means you are still moving out of that which no longer gives you any benefits, but this focus also moves you into more blessings. Sorry, I'll just read that bit again. To prepare for a way out means you are focused on feeling vulnerable in a situation, but to prepare towards what you desire means you're still moving out of what no longer benefits you in that moment. Like that's something that you need to move out of. But this focus also moves you into more blessings. We have been programmed to always prepare for the worst situation instead of focusing on preparing what we desire. And we really need to, at this moment, find our true purpose and move towards what we desire. And we need to take our imagination back. It's so vitally important. It's been used against us through programming. But the reason why they use it against us is because it is so powerful, right? Really powerful stuff. So, Rainbow Warrior, thank you so much for that contribution. Really appreciate that. Appreciate everybody's love and support and everything. So thank you guys for being here on this journey. I have some incredible news. I'm not going to be able to share it just yet, but there's some big things happening in my career, which is just so exciting. Anyway, let's get into channeling. Enough of all of that. I have to calm down now, don't I? So let's see what they're going to say. There's a definite preparation happening for all of us now. And they want me to talk about the preparation that's happening. Okay, so I'm just a bit excited more than anything. So yeah, the Cyaniums do want to come through. There's a preparation that's happening for many of us now that have done the work, that gone through some enough to have found a point where they feel they've had enough. And it's actually at that point that's going to be the breaking point for many to go, you know what, enough healing, enough tower moments, enough. I need to feel into what I truly desire here. So they want it, I'm just going to see if they'll actually come through. There is nothing that you can do that will stop what's going to happen next. It is a vital connection to yourself and to your love of yourself that is going to drive you forward into this next segment of reality, which you are creating from the inside out. There is nothing that you can do that will stop this now, because the river is flowing too fast. It is flowing so fast now through those that have come here to awaken in this moment to help guide others, and so be it. It is already done, but it is still choice within yourself of how this plays out in a role in the individual sense. So you can choose to let go enough and trust yourself to be guided through the river that is already flowing fast. The reason why there are so many others out there that are finding this troublesome is because the river is flowing so fast, and it doesn't, in their mind, when they only take into consideration logic and outside world coming in, is not going to work anymore. The outer balance will literally flip them around. They will feel like they are whirling, like they are a beetle with the right wing asleep, with the imagination asleep, and they will be whirling in such a fraction. They keep having all of this stuff coming back, that their limited mind consciousness was trying to protect them in such a manner of holding on to something that's no longer needed and no longer present in this reality anymore. This new frequency that's coming was always going to come, and it has to be, because humanity will only self-consume itself in an unbalanced manner if we keep going down the same path as what we were. We're not just talking about consuming Earth physically, because everything we do think about in the program led up till now is a physical thing, which we're also talking about consuming our own minds, consuming our own story, so that we're no longer being able to cope with being human anymore and leave this body. So it's really vitally important for now to recognize the logical brain, which is holding us bound in this whirl of never-ending story, to let go of that enough to acknowledge the power of the imagination. Now, if you keep watching programs of disaster, if you keep watching programs that are going to keep you involved in that which you do no longer want to be a part of anymore, it will end up bringing you back in, reeling you back in. And even if you think, well, I'm bored with my life, I'm bored with what I'm doing, I can't do this anymore, there's a reason why that feeling is coming across you. It is so that you can crack open something brand new, something that you always wish for, something that you can never deny in yourself, of a passion, something that's been wanting to burst out of you, and yet you and your sabotagical logical mind has been holding it bound to say, I have to protect you, so you can never step into something that is going to be giving you that much passion, because if it does and it fails, then you will feel so bad that you'll never lift yourself up again. But guess what? You've already gone through so much. You've already failed a million times with holding on to all of that, and it never felt good anyway. So you might as well move yourself into something completely brilliant, your greatest wishes, your greatest dreams. This is literally rubbing the lamp, rubbing the Aladdin's lamp of wishes come true. And that's why even that movie came out, because they were trying to hold you bound into, if you wish for something, some disaster is going to happen. It is not going to happen, because when you take the reins back to your own reality and come from the love of yourself, you are stepping into a whole nother vibration where that story will no longer reside anymore, where you start to see whatever you feel about yourself, and the reflection back at you is conducive to your wishes coming true. Even within Bobbie's life, her wishes are coming true so fast, so quickly. Even this morning, she wanted some more boxes to move. And what do you know? The next door neighbor ends up needing to get rid of their boxes. And she could see that and went and asked. And it's as simple. We're still going to do the action as well, but everything is in so much quicker timing now. And that is why those that are caught in just holding on to that logical mind, feeling like everything outside of them is what's directing them, means that they end up getting caught in drama after drama after drama. What else is going to come through? I'll also open the chat bar to any questions if you do have a couple of questions too. So this has all been a preparation for now, because humanity wanted to learn, wanted to expand, wanted to get out of that sabotageal loop of constantly dying and coming back into the same victimized state of mind. And even if you come back as a perpetrator, you are still victimized. A perpetrator literally does still feel themselves as victim. They're showing me like these windows that we're looking through into a whole new peaceful mindset that's so far beyond what anyone could control, because it's like if something tried to control you, you just almost laugh it off like, yeah, that's going to happen. All I have to do is say, I deserve, I know who I am, and I love myself enough to move towards this direction. And then you start to see all openings coming up for that direction, and everything else is being blocked away from you. You are way, 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 way more powerful than what they have taught you to be. That conditioning was a response of being out of balance and not acknowledging your soul and your imagination to be something that can create something new on this world. There's nothing that you can't imagine to do that cannot come into your reality. What we tend to do is ask, and then we block, and then we ask, and then we block. So this is where the breakthrough happens, where we push through that block, where we just go, we ask and we let go, we ask and we let go. And we know that through the secret, through the manifesting, through being taught how to manifest. But this is of a greater scale. This is of your life. This is of you holding the reins to everything. You do have that power within you. There's going to be a collective coming together too. I think we all know this. We all know that there is something really valuable coming. It's not like everything is going to fall. It's not like there is going to be bits and pieces of those things in a technical manner that can still be conducive to this new vibration, but it is not held bound by those that want to control through that technology. It is trusted, entrusted in each and every one of us to utilize it in a manner that brings harmony. So it's nothing to do with the inventions that are coming our way. It has got more to do with those that have that are holding it hostage, the invention hostage, because they don't trust in themselves, and so therefore they don't trust in others. But when you start to realize and have a real full understanding that you are source energy residing in this body and everybody else is, that there is only one central point that you create from, that is in itself going to stop the controlling fractions saying that they need to control everything. Law and order will fall away. The law and order is something of the logical mind that needed to compartmentalize everything to be able to bring it in into this world where there was always a safety net. But law and order cannot have, especially from a logical point of view, cannot be present over all possibilities. It is impossible. So we need to drop the law and order of things and come from a trust value within ourselves that we are creator and we are the ones taking responsibility moving forward into. And therefore, what happens when you do that is you magnetize all of those that are seeking what you are value giving, and then they ask, and you give. So they receive, they want, and then if you accept, okay, there's an exchange, is what they're trying to say. There's an exchange of two magnetizing forces to create, we wouldn't want to call them companies, but create groups of many that are working in harmony together and understanding each other's values and respecting, because they respect themselves and know that it is done through fun. There's a lot more fun going to happen with all of this, rather than a mountain of paperwork and stress involved that will fall away through the trust of ourselves in others and ourselves as well. Okay, what else is coming through? If there's any questions, please ask. Just going to see what else wants to come through though. Okay, so they are going to connect with us. This is getting exciting. So there's going to be more sightings happening. Now, along with the sightings that are happening, there's going to be a lot more fake sightings, frauds, so to speak, so it's more to do with our alignment with the truth. And the more that we feel in line with our own truth, the more that we come across those stories that are true too, and the UFOs that people are seeing in the skies, all of that sort of stuff. We are cracking open into another dimensional space where we are realizing within that other fifth dimensional space that there is a lot more residing in that space. There's a lot more beings that we can connect to. And so they can then almost poke a hole in the fabric of the three dimensions that we think only exist, because we've already opened our mind to that, to more of that. So thank you, Peter. Much appreciated. What else is happening? Thanks, Bobby and guys. Looking forward to the fun levity these new energies will bring. Wow, thank you. So, Peter is from Japan. Okay. What else have we got to go here? Yes, so they want to go more into this connection that we're going to have with them. Nobody can take hostage of you, your mind, or anything if you know yourself, because you will go, sorry, I know who I am, and you don't, that's just not going to happen. It's not in my reality. It's literally that easy. It's literally as easy as you saying, sorry, that's just not going to happen in my reality. Even to the point where somebody in your family and your friends and all of that come into your reality that are pushing you and making you feel bad about yourself. Sorry, that is not in my reality. I know who I am, and I'm directing my life. Exactly the same feeling. So when we start to take more of a acknowledgement in who we are and the inner journey and who we are, then we are also opening up that trust within ourselves to be able to allow benevolence to come in that are from a different dimensional space. So many spacecrafts will come through in different ways. There's all different ways that they use the space travel, because each being has perfected, so-called perfected, but nothing's really perfect, right? Perfected in their own manner, their own way of traveling through dimensional time and space. And some of them like to have a material object around them. But when you walk in, it's like a TARDIS. Is like inside is completely different, because their minds are in sync with what they wish on the inside. And yet our minds on the outside can see only a small craft on the outside. Because that's, they don't want to frighten us if they come in with a massive football size UFO that's hovering over us, with all of the movies that have been portraying them as a negative thing. They would rather come in, and in the past they have come in a smaller object, which actually isn't to them, but to us it might look that way. They're bringing me to a sighting that happened in a school. I can't remember what year it was now, but there was lots of kids that saw that sighting, and it was only a small object, but they said it was actually big on the inside than what it was on what they could see on the outside. Because in the other dimensional spaces, it is due to the limited consciousness that they are connecting with, that they are also observant of who they are connecting with, so that they can come in without fear. But it doesn't matter so much now. This is more to do with the past now, because we are already being prepared, especially those that are ready to meet and greet. We have been prepared through telepathic abilities and channeling, through feeling, through a familiar feeling, that we have an understanding of them when they do come through. And this is going to happen over the next, like we're talking 2030 and so forth. There's definitely going to be a shift in 2025, though. 2026, there was a major shift this year, and a major shift that year. So there's some years that are coming up that have value points of reference where it's more conducive to an opening to them. So they're going to come through to those that they have already set up as ambassadors on Earth, to be representing of them, and they are very humble within themselves to. They aren't like a leadership sort of a scenario. They are have an understanding that all is source energy residing through an avatar or body, and everybody has the ability to become the creator God that they want. So there is no feeling of being better than or controlling something else. It's more of a guiding light, becoming that, and then others coming in to see how they do it, and asking how did they do it. That's of great value at the moment. That they want to bring that up because there are many that are starting to have feelings of them. Telepathy and channeling is going to be a norm in that higher frequency. What else have we got? Okay, Rebecca, are Arcturians or Pleiadians or another space race who will appear in the ships to us? There's going to be many. There's a lot more than what the logical mind could even imagine, to tell you the truth. And our souls have gone on many, many journeys through these different planetary environments. And each one of us has alignments to those, but the Pleiadians have a big role to play, because they were here to help guide humanity many eons ago. They were the cousins of us and Lyrans. The Lyrans are another one. The Syrians, and now we've got other beings that are even closer to source energy, because this is because humanity has the ability to connect straight there to source energy itself. And when we connect straight to source energy itself, we have the ability to see many, many different fractions of perspectives of life. And so when an individual person goes through a shift, that is one fraction, one perspective, then we have maybe a whole group that's going through a shift. Why? Because it's coming from another dimensional space. That shift is coming from a higher dimensional space. So that means the whole of humanity is moving up. But if you can't feel into that dimensional space or have an awareness of it, then you will flounder. You won't have a fuller understanding of what's going on. And so there has to be an opening and a realization of or expansion to more. And so beings are coming to connect with each and every one of us that are ready to take these leaps to prepare us into these different fractional, different frequencies. Okay. I'm feeling a bit dizzy at the moment. If all is one, then they are just another aspect of self expressed externally. So you will experience whatever forms align with your personal experience. Yes, that's true. It has to do with that. Also, if you want to ask a question, just put it up in capitals. Just say question in capitals and then ask the question so that I have an understanding that is an actual question. Okay, let's just see what else comes through for humanity's consciousness and moving forward. Okay, so we look on the outside world, we see disaster. We look on the inside world, we see expansion, something new being brought forward, something new being birthed. The more we look outside ourselves at the moment, the more we could be seeking that which we have experienced in the past or thought was the only way due to the program. But that program is holding on so tight now that it's literally hurting itself. If you can imagine someone falling off a cliff, they're holding on so tight that it's literally hurting itself. And if you follow that program, you will also get caught in and hurt as well. So when you see outside yourself, say news events and all of that, I would suggest, and this is what Bobbie's done, do not watch any of that anymore, because to create a space within your mind to move forward into your imagination and creating something new, we have to let go of that old program. And you deserve to create that space. You are worthy of a space of being here. Your worth is so much of value to ignite your imagination and see that value and what it can produce. And you can imagine your heart's content, right? And just keep on seeing it from a point of view of no resistance. When Bobbie was bringing in the home, wanting to find her own home, she kept seeing a key turning and her saying to herself, this is my home, this is my home. And that was a year ago. And now we are moving I am moving into my own home. What else is coming through? I feel like something gentler wants to come through, and I have to get into that gentle frequency for that to happen. Oh, I'm feeling very small. That's really interesting. I think it's the Cyaniums. Okay, so let's see what they come up with. So your reality is only conducive to how you feel about yourself. The more you love yourself, the more love is reflected back at you. You are each and every one of you has a unique piece to play in this. a unique role in this reality. There is a point where heaven meets earth, where utopia meets earth, and it is through you deciding that your dreams are going to come true. It is you allowing your dreams to come true and saying, this is possible. This is possible. I no longer need to follow the feeling of being out of control, that others are more than I am, and that I have to follow with a certain norm that takes me down a path that makes me feel bad and vulnerable or sad or angry. And it's not like those emotions won't come in every now and then, but we get over them quicker. There's many options coming our way that are even beyond what the mind has thought of so far, because we are coming into the land of or the time expression of imagination, and an imagination holds many keys to the soul's evolutional journey. So there's so much more. It literally is you, and you appointing yourself to have they keep showing me an X, and that X is, when that X happens, it's heaven, Gaia meeting earth. We are only seeing the pyramid. We're only seeing this, but at the other side of the pyramid is another reality. Oh, now they're bringing me to the pyramids. Even in those days of the pyramids, when that happened, there was the king's chamber and the queen's chamber. To get to the king's chamber, where action was involved and movement happened, where you ended up going through an esophagus and a point within your own psyche that led you into another higher frequency, leaving this body and moving into a different dimensional space that's beyond what the physical could handle. We had to come from no fear to do that, to move into the higher frequencies. This is literally happening here on earth, right here, right now, while we're still alive. Moving into the Queen's chamber first, though, we had to face all fears. So everything in the Queen's chamber would be reflective of our fears in real time. So when we moved through the Queen's chamber, it was like, boom, whatever we thought, if it was a fear, it was manifested. And we had to face it. And that's what we're going through now. That's what humanity's evolution is going through now. We are in the Queen's chamber. We are collectively facing off with our own self reflection. And every time we step back into, we're weak, we're vulnerable, we have no control, we are reflected back with that. And every time we step into, we are source energy, creating, we are creators, we trust ourselves, we love who we are reflected with that. So that's why they went through a process where they trained first, then they went through the Queen's chamber, and then they went into the King's chamber, and then lied in esophagus, and then they ended up having a connection to their pineal gland, which shifted their vibration into another reality here on earth, on Gaia, so that they could be the observer of the reality that was out of balance. Interesting. Holy woolies. Let me just see what else comes through. So we have 44. The reason why 4400 was a really dominant number in the Bible and everything that was has been said about the 4400 coming was because that number in itself is a grounding number of abundance. If you're seeing that number, then you are literally being asked to ground heaven on earth, to connect to higher benevolent beings, to receive messages and ground them. 111 was a gateway and opening to us realizing that we are the creators of our reality. 222 was to do with all of us collectively coming, recognizing our reflection as our own inner collaboration within our own mind reflected outward in those people that are coming to us. Not many people saw 222. This is actually coming up more so now, but not in the past. It literally jumped. There was a lot of 444s and 333s. 333s was to do with unification within oneself and recognizing that they are also source energy. So we have the two hemispheres of the brain, right and left, and then we have the pineal gland, which is the third, and the third is always source energy, the opening of the pineal gland. They poured fluoride water over, but please don't tap into that sort of stuff. There is nothing that they poured over you in the program that you cannot shift. Remember that. There is nothing, because it's like saying to source energy, to God itself, you can't shift that because those people over there pulled a program over you and said that you are now your pineal gland is completely closed off. Now you are going to be unhealthy for the rest of your life. That is not true. You cannot tell source energy or God that. And that's what you are. So take that reign back. So 444, if you are seeing 444, you are being asked to expand your reality into receiving messages from the divine so that we can ground these messages on earth. Seeing what else comes through. Okay, we're 47 minutes in. Just seeing if there's somebody else. Let's just chill for a bit. It's like humanity's consciousness is literally going through a death in itself. And within that death, we are being bombarded with, if you can imagine a river and then having icebergs floating up. So how do you melt an iceberg? You melt an iceberg through heat, right? And light and heat. So they're saying the only way to melt those icebergs is through love of self. When we have something that we don't love about ourselves, that becomes the block. So if we switch it around and say, I accept that in myself now, I am ready to move past it and forward. And I also acknowledge that I do not need that in my reality anymore as a reflection. You taking your own reins and doing that will literally open more gateways. Yeah. Okay. What does 2-3 for me? Okay. 2 234 means there's a progression that's happening very fast for you. So you could be coming from unity to acknowledging yourself as source energy, to grounding that utopia on earth in a very flowing way. So 234 would be that you are moving forward. You're moving forward in a nice fashion. You're working with the energies now. This is a good place to be for you. Okay, don't try so hard in anything that you do. Trying's not going to work. There has to be a strong allowance for you to be able to go with the flow of life and these new frequencies that are coming our way. These new frequencies are literally as the river of consciousness that's driving through humanity. So when we are trying, we're using our logic again to force something into place because we think that's going to make us feel safe, and we're not trusting the fall. We're not trusting the energy of flowing through this. Things do take, things have to be in progression, just like what Jennifer said, 2, 3, 4. It has to go in a progressive death, right? That is what the logic is all about, and we are still using that in this reality where we're creating. We're not dismissing that. That's still going to be a story from birth to death, but we are now bringing in more. So we're expanding into bringing in the 5th dimension to the 3rd dimension, bringing it in so that we can experience both. We can have a trust in ourselves to be able to tap in and move towards something that's way outside the box and be able to be teleporting and be able to be telepathic and be able to connect with other higher beings. But we also still know that we need the story from birth to death. Otherwise, there was no point in going through what we did in the last thousands of years, where we learned all about doing everything outside of ourselves and the story that came from birth to death. So it's a opening, an expansion, rather than ignoring and saying, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to end up in an etheric world where I can dart in and out. Then you will be like in a dream, and that's not what what source energy wanted to produce. We in ourselves wanted to produce a linear story, but still have an opening to higher fractions so that we can have more peace, more adventures, more excitement, more, like a lot more fun on this planet, with this planet, and everything that we have outside of ourselves collectively and independently created and allowed. So every tree, every blade of grass, everything is source energy as a reflection of yourself, and you are creating that. You are the paintbrush to your image that you are creating. You are the central point. There is only that one thing that exists within your reality. It's all you know about. What does 1212 mean? 1212 is to do with a massive shift within yourself, like a real, almost like a flip from one thing to another, from independence to unity, and then 1212 is a time of great shift, of great. You could also, they're telling me tower moments can happen when 1212 comes as well, because something would have to fall away, a certain independence or would have to fall away for unity to be acknowledged. And so tower moments can be present when 1212 come as well. There's also a hidden. They're telling me there's a hidden wisdom within 1212. Not sure what that's about, what they're trying to say here, but it's some sort of hidden wisdom. It's like a secret that's. It was always the shift. Interesting. I think they're bringing me back to actual 2012 when that shift literally did happen, but it was never going to be grounded until now. So anyway, there's something to do with that. Okay, what else have we got? All the numbers are coming through. Look at that. I constantly see numbers ending on 1. 911. 911 is an absolute tower moment. 911 means the end of one thing and the beginning of another. That's why on 9/11, what happened with the tower, it's a tower moment. That's why they use those dates. And be very, very cautious. Be very, very careful with the program, how they pull over our eyes on Remembrance Day, which is 11/11 here. I don't know if it is overseas, but it is here. Be very, very careful with that number. I always taught my children to imagine a beautiful world being created, because they keep on. That is a high manifestation number. And if we are as a collective only focusing on war and remembering war, what's it going to do, right? It's one of the programs that they pulled over us. So depending on, like, if you see 11 after a number, then you are manifesting that into your reality. So 9/11 would be manifesting a tower moment to let go of something. 5/11 would be manifesting some sort of movement, travel, some sort of progress in your reality. It can come with a bit of a tower moment as well. 5s. 7/11 is to do with, 7 is to do with becoming a teacher through diversity. So you might have had quite a few problematic things happening in your reality, JP. But that's all to do with teaching you how to manifest your reality through those numbers, constant numbers. Just thinking, is there any final more things to say? So just remember, guys, that the candle is burning. There's a candle burning bright now, and there's no way out but other than moving through what is to come next. And if you keep following the program, you're going to only keep following more disaster. But if you keep following your own, what you wish for, what you desire, you're going to start, that flame is going to become brighter than her. You're going to be the light that other people and the guide for other people to come through as well. So it's really exciting. We are going to have communication more, and people are going to start seeing more in with the benevolent beings coming through. But it's only going to be with those that have done the work and have an acceptance and trust within themselves to be able to get to that stage, to be able to be reflected back by benevolence actually coming through, because they have found the benevolence within themselves. They trust who they are within themselves. And that's really important. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to love you and leave you here. Thank you so much for this and being part of it. We'll see what happens next week and what energies come through with next week. Yeah. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.